namaste, and a warm welcome to all. I'm Savita this side, the moderator for this session. I take the opportunity to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Shivaji Chaubey. Dr. Shivaji Chaubey is currently the assistant professor in the Department of Yoga in the Central University of Rajasthan, India. He has experience in teaching and giving practical training to graduate and postgraduate in yoga therapy. He has taught advanced yoga techniques, yoga therapy for common ailments, practical application, and he has trained yoga instructor teacher in management of diabetes. He has also worked as a yoga therapy field training coordinator at S. Vyasa Yoga University. He has supervised postgraduate students in the field of yoga covering long-term effects of yoga on anxiety, long-term effects on perceived stress, cognitive functioning on school-going children, and along with the effect of yoga and psychological status on school-going secondary school children. Dr. Chaubey has over 100 research publications to his name, covering topics such as anxiety, depression, arthritis, IAYT approach of movement disorder, and others. I take this opportunity to please welcome and please just clap for him. It's Dr. Shivaji Chaubey. Please.
Thank you. Namaste, all of you. And my great wishes. Thank you for inviting me as a guest speaker in a renowned international integrative conference. I thank to all the organizers, Dr. Satyam Tripathi and his team who has been organized this international big event for the growth of the integrative science or the integrative medicine, and that will give a new purge or new era to explore about this integrative medicine. So it will give new inputs to our health related sciences, and the whole humanity will get benefited from this. So I thank to all the dignitaries and all the coordinators of this program and all the volunteers, and I thank all the participants who has been joined interestingly in this knowledge gaining event. So with this, I'll start with my presentation. So today I'm going to give my talk on the integrative medicine for elderly health care. So integrative medicine in the elderly healthcare, in my 20 minutes of the presentation, I'll speak about these major points in our today's talk. So introduction about the global aging. What is the global aging? What are the challenges in the geriatrics, that is elderly people? What is the medical care and geriatric health? What are their benefits or the limitations of the medical care in the geriatric health? And fourth point, we'll speak about the need of integrative healthcare for geriatrics. And last one, how to integrate the yoga and Ayurveda sciences for geriatric healthcare, overall geriatric healthcare. So all these 5 major topics we're going to look one by one. So I'll start with the first point. So global aging. So all of us know that the whole world nowadays is passing different kinds of changes, and along with that the demographic changes is happening very rapidly throughout the world. So aging is very natural process for all of us, including all the living beings, and not we are the exception as a human being. So it's when the aging happens, there is some kind of deterioration in physical and physiological functions, and that leads to the gradual deterioration of the whole life, and at the end we lose our life, and the death occurs. So that is what is we call the generally aging, the definition of aging. So global elderly population is increased worldwide. There are some major reasons. Among them, one is that increased life expectancy and decreased birth rate. Birth rate is decreased and people are living longer than the earlier time. And because of that, all over the world, the elderly population has been exponentially increased. And whenever there is an old age, all of us know that there are many health related issues arises. So if you know that in the recent 2015, it has been observed that almost 12% of the whole population of the world is aged above 60 years. around 12%. In 100, there are 12 people aged above 60 years. And it has been expected that in 2015, it will increase up to the 22%. That means almost 1/4 of the world's population in upcoming 30 years, it will be elderly all over the globe. And at now, the recent events that shows that 1 billion people in the 2019 are aged above the 60. If you see this global statistics about the old age, so mainly the Asia region, there is almost 62% people living in the Asia who are aged above 65 years. And rest of the world, mainly the Western world, there is, though the whole population is less, but their share of the old age people is also less. As the giants of the population in the world, that is India and China. So though in these countries, old age people percentage is less, but overall worldwide population, elderly population is very high. In 2015, it was just 55% within, and it will go on increasing to the 62% in upcoming 30 years. And this is the major challenge. All of us know that in our families or in our relatives, neighbor, there are some elderly people living, and all of us have been seen that they have multiple health challenges. Not only the physical illness or some kind of systematic illness, but with age, the whole problem becomes more complicated. So what are these different factors that influences the aging? Though aging is a natural process and it happens with passage of time, but sometimes this aging process is enhanced, means it speed up. It gets speed up and it increases the fast aging. Aging happens very rapidly and fast because of the multiple factors involved in it. So global health, overall world, the WHO, World Health Organization, is saying that what is the main aim in the keeping the old age people healthy? That is their main aim, and it is expecting that people should be aging healthily and appropriately. So what we have seen that the people, though they are living longer. So in 2017, they have been expected that people will live on an average 73 years all over the world. And last 10 years of their old age, they are spending in the poor health. That means they have some or other kind of illness that leads to the low quality of life and ill health that leads to the different kinds of problems. So what are the factors that influence the aging? If we see the overall, there are major three factors. We can say that one is the lifestyle factors, environmental factors, and third one is the personal characteristics. In the lifestyle factors, all of us maybe know that our diet, physical activity, substance use, that influences the aging and disease process also. The environmental factors like pollution, workplace, social situation, culture, that also influences our aging. And the personal characteristics are like gender, genetic makeup, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. All these factors contributes to our health and illness, along with that, our aging process. So next, what are the major health challenges in the elderly people? Though these health challenges are common for most of the human beings, but these are the extra burden putting challenges, and it is very difficult to treat only with the modern healthcare. That's why they becomes the major health challenges in the specifically in the old age people. Like one is the chronic non-communicable diseases, NCDs, non-communicable diseases. So since many years, they may be suffering from diabetes, hypertension, or cancer, or some other illness. Another thing is that called multimorbidity. What is this multimorbidity? It means most of the elderly people have more than one disease. They may have the diabetes along with the joint pain, or maybe they have sensory impairment. That is called the multimorbidity. More than one disease they suffer in the old age. Then another thing is the polypharmacy. So it is another challenge for the health in the old age people, because different kinds of illnesses, they take the different types of medicines. That is called multiple drug use. That is what polypharmacy. Fourth one is the disability and sterility. So physical disability, sensory disability, or the neurocognitive or the mental disability, that lead to the one of the major challenge. and increased the medical cost because of the multiple diseases and problems. The cost for maintaining health increases, and last ultimately it leads to the low quality of life. Life or the well-being is always hampered because of these things that leads to the problems in the old age. So it is overall, it is not a one-dimensional problem. In all dimension, people are in the old age suffers, and that leads to the complex disease or the complex cluster of their illness. So in one way, if you are going to treat, there will be the some other way, the other problems pop ups, and that create the problem. So if you look the present status of handling the health related issues all over the globe, we know that there is a standard medical care, and most of the time we assume that this standard medical care is everything for health, but it is only most of the time all of us know that it take care of our illness, but it doesn't take care of our well-being and the completely keeping us healthy. So there is a difference between the medical care and health care. So healthcare, in the healthcare, all the stakeholders of the society, they come together for enhancement of the society's health or the individual's health. So there are different means healthcare is a very big umbrella in which the medical care is only one dimension or only one part. So we have to look into the dimension of the healthcare, and when we look into the healthcare, the whole integrative medicine will fall into it, and it will fulfill some of the necessities of specifically the elderly people. So medical care is essential, but it is not sufficient. That is the major one of the issue that in the old age we see. In spite of great development in the medical healthcare, we are not able to solve multiple problems. That I'll show you in the next slide what is that problem. And multidimensional solutions are required to solve the different complex related problems. So if you see this slide, in spite of the whole medical development and lot of investment or the cost involved, or the different countries are spending a lot of amount to maintaining their countrymen in a healthy, but still these are the different illnesses that leading to the deaths and comorbidities and low quality of life in the people. One is the at first level, there is cardiovascular disease, which is almost 31% of the people died because of the cardiovascular diseases in 2017. And on the second rank comes the cancer. It is almost 17% of the world's death happened in 2017 because of the cancer. And all these problems, cardiovascular disease, cancer, respiratory disease, or the dementia, these are the major 5 dimensions of the death. The 5 major diseases of the death in 2017 according to the World Health Organization. So if you look to the dementia is a specific problem for the old age, some kind of memory impairment, cognitive functional impairment. So it was just 10 years back, it was just at 10th rank, but last 5 to 7 years, it came up to the 5th rank. It means the dementia is also causing the certain kind of illness and the morbidity to the people. So there are many more other diseases. So among all these diseases, they are definitely involved in the old age, and because of this multimorbidity, the people suffer more. So we need a certain kind of solutions that will give the good health and good quality of life in the old age. There should be not very pain and a lot of suffering. And most of the time we observe that the old age people accept their illness, or the society neglect their problems, and they suffer a lot. So we need a integrative solutions, and there is yes, definitely we can solve multiple problems which are involved in the elderly care by the integrative medicine. So what is integrative medicine? Maybe you have been listened with what is integrative medicine, but briefly I will tell you that different kinds of methods, treatments are utilized, are used extensively to solve the different multiple problems. Or the definition says it is a means of combining any effective methods or treatments in order to establish new complex ways to effectively treat various complex diseases, to avoid side effects or unilateral treatment. So this is most important. You should not treat only focusing on one problem, or you should also avoid the side effects. So these things will be taken care in the integrative medicine, and WHO is also supporting for that. And if you see this slide, you will see that how the integrative medicine, in the integrative medicine, mainly we are using the traditional and complementary therapies along with the modern healthcare. And if you see from 2019 to 2018, gradually the use of TCM is increased all over the globe. Out of 193 countries of the WHO member states, 124 countries are using one or other kind of complementary and alternative medicine adjuncted with the modern care or individually. And if you see the above, out of this 193 countries, almost 88 countries are using some or other form of the complementary therapy. So what is the main challenge here is that how to integrate these alternative therapies along with the modern conventional care, and what are the loopholes that we have to solve with the research and continuously implementing this science. So there is a need definitely of the integrative healthcare for geriatrics, and also the WHO recommends that integrative healthcare for healthy aging. Mainly, specifically, this is for old age. WHO has been recommended. We need the integrative healthcare, and that can be done through the alternative therapies like herbal medicine or the yogic practice, healing and rehabilitation, physiotherapies like that, or physical. All these things, different kinds of alternative and complementary therapies can be used. But specifically speaking about the yoga and Ayurveda, they have the exponential knowledge and the wisdom, and there are very standard practices which has been already the people has been used from the millennia. And if you see the recent evidences coming up from the yoga side for the elderly, it has been shown that this yoga is much more yoga therapies are much more beneficial than the only conventional exercises. We generally recommend, or the people recommend, do the exercise, be the physical active, but in spite of the physical exercise or the physical activeness, yoga practices like asanas, pranayamas, they have the utmost benefits as compared to the normal exercises. Yoga also has been shown that there benefits in the chronic non-communicable diseases in the elderly, different kinds of diseases, neurological diseases, or the cancer, or maybe the cardiovascular diseases. Definitely there are a lot of researches has been done. More than 7,000 research articles are come up, and they are indicating yoga is much more beneficial, and it can be integrated with the modern healthcare system, and it will give the more benefits. And also for cognitive and mental health. So most of the time the mental health and cognitive problems are generally ignored in the old age people. So if you do this kind of practices, definitely they have the higher impact on their mental status and inner well-beingness or the happiness. And similarly, the Ayurveda is also indicated about different therapies, and specifically among the different branches of the Ayurveda treatments, the rejuvenation, it is called Rasayana therapy, which is most, or you can say that it is one of the specialty of the Ayurveda, which deals with the elderly problems, and that is called Rasayana therapy. So by using this Rasayana therapy for the elderly people, along with the detoxification therapies like Panchakarma procedures, depending on the problem and the different kinds of illnesses in the elderly, comprehensively we can implement that kind of therapies in the elderly care, and that will give the better outcomes. And also the diet and achara, means these are the inbuilt components of the Ayurveda also, appropriate diet. So we know that recently the researchers are saying that if our microbiome or the gut or the GIT tract, if we keep the appropriately, almost many of the illnesses we can cure, or we can handle them appropriately. So diet and the lifestyle is much more important, and it has been given the exponential understanding and knowledge from the yoga and Ayurveda. So by the well-known of this field, they can integrate the Ayurveda yoga with conventional medical care, and that will give the much more benefits to the individuals, those who are elderly, and they are cost effective. And that is the need of the present time. Is cost is also important. As our illnesses are increasing, the cost increases. So that is why it is most important. They are cost effective, and it also handles the inner dimensions, which are generally neglected by the modern healthcare system, like our psychological dimension, our spiritual dimension, the goal and aim, for what we are born, and giving the deeper dimensions to our spiritual health or the well-beingness. So these are the all dimensions which can be handled through the appropriately from yoga and Ayurveda. And there are certain challenges, last one point in my presentation. So how to integrate? So we required a lot of knowledge, we required a lot of research, we required the practical experience and doing the experiments, and that will give us some good outputs. So that is why it is necessary to all of us, like all of you are the people who are working in this area. So which are the therapies are useful by integrating with the modern healthcare, and what are the side effects are coming, which things, with which kind of medicine we can give. For example, the Ayurveda, there are some herbal medicines. There are maybe some side effects if we add with the wrong kind of modern medicine. So that kind of knowledge we have to grow further and develop that kind of understanding. So ultimately, last, I'll say that, so yoga and Ayurveda, they have the higher potentials because of their richness of the knowledge in their philosophy, in their science, and that will bring the good integration with the modern healthcare. As in the yoga, there is no medicine, so it is easily integrated with the modern medical care. Only in the Ayurveda treatments, we have to look cautiously and we have to increase the scientific knowledge.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Shivaji. We have some questions from the audiences. They are coming from different sources. I have one question on their behalf.
Okay.
I want to know like how we can age gracefully.
Yes. So it is very basic question for all of us, because all of us are going to be aged. One day we are going to be elder. So there are different things. Specifically, if we are going to see the research perspective also, from the research perspective of the yoga, the present researches are indicating if you are doing the daily regular more than 1 hour of practices means the pranayama, asana, or the meditation, relaxation based meditation, or the deeper, if you are different kinds of meditation, if you are doing regularly for a longer time, the natural aging process becomes slow. And that has been shown at the genetic level also. In our body, there are more than 10 trillion cells, and each cell is having the nucleus, and in the nucleus there is a DNA. So how our aging is happening actually, there is a information on our DNA, and that DNA, at the end of the DNA, there are certain part that is called the telomere, tail of that each DNA, or you can say the chromosome's tail, last part. So if that last tail of the telomere of the DNA, if it is rapidly becoming narrow or becoming shorter, then your aging happens very fast. That has been shown by the modern science. But what we have seen in the yoga research, if you are doing the long time practices with involvement, not the mechanical, I'm not showing the show up yoga, I'm just going stretching and straining. It should bend your mind. It should bring that kind of ultimate benefits of the calmness in your mental dimension also. So when that telomere length also decreases very slowly, that has been shown by the yoga practices. It means that at the cellular level, cell aging happens very slowly, and that is the one indication that our aging happens slowly.
And thank you, doctor. We have a few more questions. The question is from Windle. It is, can you confirm that ankle stretch breathing is beneficial for older people? In what way?
Yes. So it is one of the practice. There are many more practices. If we are doing this ankle stretch breathing, mainly this will help in the locomotion, or you can say the balancing. In the old age people, there is a problem of the balance. As the age increases, they have the problems, and there may be the more chance the people may fall easily. Even if little bit disturbance in their gait during walking or from sitting to standing up. So if there is because of the weakness in the muscles and weakness of the nervous system, the balancing of the gait of their walking and changing the posture, there is a problem. When you are doing this kind of ankle stretch breathing, or mainly the balancing kind of practices or the breathing oriented practices, it will give the strength to your nervous system along with the neuromuscular system, joints and your muscles. So in that way, it will help in the balancing of their position, or there will be less chances with falling.
Okay, thanks, doctor. There is one more question. Is there any limit in age where Panchkarma is not recommended? Where the person is physically in a good shape?
Okay. So there, as per the classical Ayurvedic practices, it has been indicated certain strong kind of purificatory procedures. They have been contraindicated after age of 80 years. After age of 80 years, but it depends on the person's fertility, how much the person is weak or debilitated, and what is the strength, his physical and the mental strength. So depending on that, we can recommend a certain kind of panchakarma therapies in a milder form for the elderly people more than of 80. But there are certain other therapies like Rasayana therapy. In spite of doing the very strong purgative or the strong panchakarma procedures, we can give the panchakarma therapies. In spite of the panchakarma therapies, this Rasayana therapy, it will be more beneficial for them.
Okay, thank you, doctor. There's one more question from Mr. Lim. It is, dementia patient is getting younger. Most of dementia are having problem at night. Day become night and night become day. How should we manage such situation?
See, actually the dementia is mainly, what is the major problem in the dementia means we are losing our memory. We are losing only the short-term memory. We are not losing the long-term memory. Long-term memory means what? What we have done in the early age, maybe in the your college time or in your young age, that we are not losing in the dementia. We are losing only the present moment or just a few minutes or few hours what we have done and what are the things we have been kept. That is the major problem in the dementia. Why it is happening the anatomically or the physiologically? Nervous system or the neurons in our brain, they get degenerated. But my major area is in this area, means my work about the dementia and the neurocognitive impairment. So I have seen that if you are, these people are doing regular, the pranayama, specifically the pranayama and relaxation based meditation along with some few asanas as per their capacity. If they are able to do that more than 2 to 3 months, the problems will decrease. Or that if the cases are very severe, the problems will not go on deteriorating, because day by day this problem goes on deteriorating. There is no stop and there is no medicine for the dementia. All of us know that. So there is one benefit. If you are going on doing the yoga practices or certain kind of herbal support, herbal medicine support, that will at least, it will not deteriorate the condition. If you are not feeling, because our feeling is that we should cure ourselves, we should come out of that problem. But the one, sometimes in such severe cases, we may not see that kind of complete reversal. But one benefit is that they will not deteriorate very fast, one thing. And second thing, if there is a very mild kind of problems, definitely there is a chance we can reverse them or we can slow down that process of the disease.
Right. Thank you, doctor. There is one more question from Dr. Pushpa. She's asking, like, most of the elderly people have a constipation problem. How we can work on that using specific yoga for it?
Okay. So in elderly old age, as per the Ayurvedic tradition, we know that there is some kind of neurological problem, or in the vata or dosha go on increasing. It is one of the vital capacity of our body, and that leads to the constipation, and the gastric motility also reduces. Whatever our GI related movements is happening, there is a slowness, sluggishness happen. That is one thing, is because of the aging. Another thing is, if the person having the different kinds of illnesses, for example, diabetes, if the person having, then if they are taking the certain kind of medications for curing their, controlling their sugar levels, that medicines have the side effects of creating the constipation. Or there may be some other illness like pain related problems or like that. So we have to look specifically which kind of thing is creating the constipation. Is it because of the medicine, or is it because of only because of the aging, or what? This is the first thing. The second thing, to how to resolve the problem. So very simple thing, in the old age, you can give the Laghu Shankha Prakshalan, LSP. It is called LSP, salt water. If they don't have the hypertension, then only you can recommend them with the Laghu Shankha Prakshalan, this one cleansing technique of yoga. Or if they have the hypertension, they can use the Triphala. Triphala is one of the herbal formulation of the Ayurveda medicine. This Triphala powder, you can add 3 to 4 gram in the 1 liter of water, and lukewarm Triphala water, if they drink, that will completely clean their constipation, or temporary cleaning of the constipation, one thing. It is for instant relief for the severe kind of constipation. But if they are regularly doing the Kapalbhati practice and some kind of abdominal breathing kind of practice, that will definitely help in a longer time.
Thanks, doctor. I think we have answered Dr. Pushpa. There is one more question from Dr. Amruta. Though it's not confined only to old people, like it is like, is there any yogasana for reduction of hair fall?
Hair fall. So we have to look in this problem because see, we are always concerned about our look, our many things. Hairs are not like living thing. First thing, he may not agree with me, but what I feel, that is what I am telling. Hairs are not living thing. They are just extra growth in our body, or in some way they are helping to us also. But why our major concerns about that? First thing we have to look. There is much more things to give the concerns. Life is more important. Our mind, our existence, and for what we are living, that is much more important than the hairs, I think. But still, by doing certain practices, mainly the problem of the hair fall is arising because of some micromineral or the nutritional deficiencies, some kind of proteins and some micronutrient deficiencies that create the fast, rapid hair fall. And there is another reason is that our stress. If we have the psychological distress and this micronutrient deficiencies, that lead to the fast, rapid hair fall. And to avoid that, we have to take the nutritious food, specifically the fresh fruits, vegetables in regular diet. And another thing is that she is asking specifically for the yoga. Then there is not a one practice, it is going to help in a one dimension, but in a overall three dimensions. I will tell to her that one is the regular yoga asana along with the pranayama, and last one is the relaxation or the deep meditation. Definitely they will help in a certain way, because they are not helping only in her hair fall. Overall physiological changes they will bring in a certain way, and in that way they will help in that conditions also. But if she has some kind of micronutrition deficiency, vitamin deficiencies, or the low hemoglobin, specifically the females suffer because of the low hemoglobin, that also lead to that problem. So we have to look in that dimensions also.
Thanks a lot, doctor. There is one last question from Windle. Windle, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, doctor.
Yes.
My question is for what asanas or other practices can alleviate knee pain for elderly people?
So see, in this case also, because we have to look case to case. First thing, if you are a therapist or students, we have to increase our knowledge by reading the research papers or with working with your colleagues, senior colleagues, or the doctors. So to reduce the knee pain, see, the people are suffering much more in the old age because of the pain, and pain is the major problem. Definitely we have to look into that. And among the different types of pain in the old age, they have, most of the people suffer from the knee problem, knee osteoarthritis or knee related problems. So what we can do, there is a wear and tear. So it is not like some kind of a problem which is arising from the non-communicable diseases. There is, in the knee problem, there is mainly the degeneration or the structural problem happens. Structural wear and tear happens in the joint area. So it is not so easy, or within a short time it is not going to be relieved. That is what you have to tell your friend, to whomsoever you are going to give therapy, or yourself. So long time practices are required. In that, mainly we give this knee related practices, the patella movements, energization of the knee. And some of the colleagues, they will tell about the stretching and strengthening practices of the knees in the sitting posture, how to do that. So pain will not going to reduce from the just, or you may not think about the regeneration of the complete knee joint like in your young age. What we are doing here with this therapy is that we are strengthening your muscles, lower limb muscles and thigh muscles. What happens whenever we are standing or changing the position, the more pressure come on the knee joint, because the whole upper body weight is putting on the pressure on the knees. So if our muscles are strong, upper thigh muscles and lower leg muscle, calf muscles are very strong, they will support like a pillar, or they will support like a rope sideward. So they will help in a certain way that they will reduce the pressure on the knee joint related area. And another thing is that deep meditation or deep relaxation or the pranayama only help in a deeper wear and tears. but there is a more benefit will be from the Ayurveda side. Ayurveda, that is called the Janubasti, that will help a lot.
Thanks a lot, doctor. I think we need to pause here. And thanks a lot for enlightening us. See you next year. Thanks a lot. Thanks, audience. Bye-bye.
Thank you all of
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.